Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We have some big news to go over with XRP and Ripple, and let's go ahead and get straight to it. So we're going to start things off with Bitcoin because we know Bitcoin leads the way, and with the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we are now sitting at 13. So it has eased up just a tiny bit. We are still in the extreme fear territory, but there's a lot of wiggle room here for the price to try and move back up. Yes, it could still end up pulling down with things such as the United States and Iran war, and we'll be talking just a little bit on an update on that in a moment. But let's go ahead and see what's moving with Bitcoin's price. We are green for the day, up 1% while I'm recording the video at $64,169. And you guys can see we did close out red yesterday, but just barely. Essentially, a key point here is that we have 2 days of candle closure above the key Fibonacci retracement zone of $63,200. This is important because it shows a weak trend, but it is still a trend, meaning that we might end up seeing a continuation of this and a little bit more of a mixture of a micro-macro position. And whoa, I just saw a massive lightning bolt. And there's a thunderstorm going on while I'm recording the video. So you guys can actually see right here that we are now progressing our way back to $65,000. And I'm not sure if the microphone picked up that thunder. We do have a baseline of support at $59,000 that was established back on June 5th. $60,000, of course, a key psychological level. And we're also seeing that Fibonacci retracement zone, $63,200. If this does close out on the day in the green, even if it closed out red, let's say it closed out just slightly below for yesterday, technically that would be 3 days above that Fibonacci retracement zone, which then would be a strong trend, meaning we might have a further continuation climbing up. The next major zone I would be looking at would be at $68,000. That's where the Bollinger Band median line is. And then making a run up to 70K, 75K, and then up here at $78,100, right around there. The volume for the day, let's go ahead and take a look at that a little bit closer. It is very low. So seeing the amount of the candle move right here with the actual volume itself is pretty surprising. So most of this is on the buy side. We do see that the volume has been going down day over day. We had the high point back here on June 9th, and then we've had 3 days back to back where it's just gone down less and less. It is looking like the trend today might be a continuation of that. And some of this might be just people waiting to see what happens with the SpaceX, because it did launch yesterday on the stock market, and a lot of people got involved in that. So they might be looking to try and see how their funds play out before they try to redistribute it into other things such as crypto. So now, moving on. The White House advisor, Patrick Witt, reaffirms July 4th remains the target date for passing the Clarity Act. Says progress continues every day toward the goal. It'd be really cool to see it on July 4th. And that means that we're now less than 1 month away from having that potentially historic moment. I would love to see it be signed sooner, don't get me wrong. Okay, now in major news, although let's be real, is this really considered news? Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the US and Iran are, quote, closer to a peace deal than ever, with finalization of the deal expected in the next 24 hours. Again, that's from Pakistan. Pakistan is now preparing for the electronic signing of the peace deal, followed by technical level talks next week. Quote, we are confident that this historic peace deal will form a strong foundation for lasting peace, he says. Okay. Now, as a follow-up to this, from Walter Bloomberg, Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, the exact time of signing the memorandum will not be tomorrow. So if you were thinking about this signing taking place in the next 24 hours, coming from Iran's foreign ministry side, it looks like that's not going to happen. So the reason why I say, is it news, is it not news, is because we keep hearing this, oh, we're really close to a deal, and oh, look, everything's going to be okay. And then next thing you know, somebody does something. If it's Israel, if it's Iran, if it's the United States, somebody's doing something and just kicks the can down the road. Up next, the United States' main oil distribution hub, Cushing, is running out of oil. This is per CNN. And this is important because if we are running out of oil in the United States, then you might see prices start to spike once again. And those spikes could very well cause people to start to sell some of their other assets because they need to have cash on hand just for everyday living, right? If you can't afford a gallon of gas, or a tank of gas, I should say, to get to and from where you need to, well, you got to get money from somewhere. And if work's not providing it and everything else is going up with inflation, then you got to look to what your savings are, your assets, right? Up next, Japanese giant Remix Point bets bigger on XRP while increasing its exposure. No, Ripple just expanded its Bitso partnership and put Mexico's peso stablecoin directly on the XRP ledger's permission DEX. Ripple and Bitso, Latin America's leading digital finance company, are bringing MXNB, a regulated Mexican peso stablecoin, onto the XRP ledger. It will run on the XRPL permission DEX alongside Ripple's dollar stablecoin, RLUSD, to power enterprise cross-border payments across the US-Mexico corridor. What is the XRPL permission DEX? The XRP ledger has always had a built-in decentralized exchange where assets can be traded and settled directly on-chain. The permission DEX is a regulated version of that exchange. It lets only verified, approved counterparties access the liquidity pools. It keeps the speed and efficiency of on-chain settlement. It adds the compliance control banks and enterprises legally required. It means institutions get DeFi-level efficiency without DeFi-level risk. In plain terms, it's a compliant trading and settlement layer built directly into the XRP ledger, designed for banks and regulated financial firms. Why MXNB on the permission DEX matters. A business can now settle directly between dollars. We're talking RLUSD and pesos, that MXNB, on-chain in seconds. No correspondent banks, no multi-day delays, no fragmented liquidity. Only verified institutional counterparties can transact, satisfying regulators. The US-Mexico corridor is one of the largest remittance markets on Earth, moving tens of billions every year. In the bigger picture, this is what the XRP ledger was built for. Two regulated stablecoins, $1 backed and one peso backed, settling against each other on a compliant on-chain exchange. The permission DEX gives enterprises the missing piece that they always needed, on-chain liquidity with built-in compliance. If you want to follow them, they're RippleZidy over on Twitter. They give you the deep links. Nobody else is connecting in the XRP ecosystem, so a big shout out to @RippleZidy on Twitter. Some really good stuff, which includes this. Reports suggest Bank of America is exploring ways to incorporate XRP into payment systems. So once again, XRP just helping pave the way with more integrations with the banking system. So really cool. And Binance recorded 465 million XRP in large outflows between June 3rd and June 11th, 2026. There's a crypto exchange called BTCC, and if you have not heard of it yet, then maybe you're new to my channel, or you just haven't really gotten this far in one of my videos before. But it has been around for 13 years. You get access to over 300 crypto futures, up to 250x leverage. There's no VPN or KYC required to get started. And there's also bonuses. So if you use my referral link, you can get a 10% deposit bonus on your first deposit over $500 USDT. And you can get bonuses all the way up to $10,055. So if you want to look into this more, or if you want to get started, you can find that referral link down in the description below. And up next, June 2026, Coin Metro to begin delisting Tether to ensure full MiCA compliance. That means USDT out, XRP, XLM, Algo, HBAR, Cardano, and QNT are in. And XRP ETFs just pulled in another $2.04 million, and it's all from one fund. Canary's XRP-C has now stacked $461 million in cumulative inflows alone, while total XRP ETF NAV sits at $979 million. Quite accumulation while everyone's distracted. And Deutsche Bank, the Bank of England, the Bank of Italy, Santander, BBVA, ING, and the Banque de France all view XRP as a settlement infrastructure. And they say, you think the ECB won't use it? ETF flows, Bitcoin and XRP spot ETFs saw net inflows on June 12th, while Ethereum recorded outflows. The DTCC has not made any announcements about XRP because there's a high risk that the price could skyrocket. This is from UnknownDLT on Twitter. They don't want the price to go up just yet. This is the difference between tokenization and settlement. If you think XRP won't be a highly efficient settlement asset because they've chosen Canton and Stellar, quote, first, I'm sorry to say you have no idea. Now, here's what Bank XRP posted. DTCC just said the quiet part out loud. Their tokenization service is connecting to Stellar, and they're positioning themselves as the bridge across multiple blockchains. Shared market infrastructure is coming. Siloed chains are dying. And we also have from X here, once it's approved, we'll see institutional money migrate to DLT within a few weeks. Remember that DLT will need a liquid token. That token was chosen many years ago. It's XRP. From Zyfe, XRP whale inflows to Binance just bottomed near 800 million after a sharp 30-day decline from the 3.5 billion March peak, now ticking back up toward 1.2 billion. Early sign whales are repositioning. Worth watching if this trend continues. And just taking a very quick look at what's going on with XRP's price. We do have a little bit of a climb up. I was mentioning yesterday, this looks like it could possibly be forming a bit of a head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders type pattern. But it still has a ways to go. It looks like it's consolidating a little bit more than anything. We're going to be looking at some major resistance here at $1.18. Breaking above that, we can move towards $1.23 and then trying to get all the way up to $1.40 for the Fibonacci retracement zone. I'm still looking at a level of support at $1.05. And then below that is going to be, of course, $1. But right now we are seeing a little bit of green on the day, up nearly 2%. XRP holding in there pretty well, and the Bollinger Band still quite wide. And that's what I got, guys. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. I'm Crypto Atlas over on Patreon. Thank you to my YouTube members. God bless you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.